What's up, guys? You know what it is. This is episode 55 of Speaking Wrestling with Elvis Arroyo. And as always, I am your host, Elvis Arroyo. And this is the Wrestlemania 36 review show. We're going to break down the entire show. I'm going to go match by match. Going to give you guys my opinion on what I thought of every single match. Going to give you my opinion on what I thought on the entire weekend. And like always, guys, I'm going to give you guys my most valuable performer and flopper of the weekend, guys. So let's get going. We got a long show to get into, so let's get things going. But first, like always, guys, let's take care of some business. You guys can get in contact with this podcast on Twitter at Speaking Wrestle, on Instagram at Speaking Wrestling. Don't forget to subscribe over on YouTube at Speaking Wrestling, guys. Hit the like button and subscribe button, guys. And that's it for the business, guys. Let's get into it. You know what you guys came here to listen to, my opinion of what I thought of what was a two-night event for WrestleMania. First time ever that WrestleMania goes to 2 nights. And my God, guys, I got to say, this is already off the bat, my opinion, it's a good show. It was a great show. But again, there are some stuff that I'm going to cut through, carve out what could have been done, what I thought was some of the hit and misses of this weekend. But again, other than that, guys, I really think that the review of the show from most of you guys, from what I've seen on social media, has been that WrestleMania 36 was a great show, despite the fact that we're going through this pandemic, like we all know, but no audience. There's no attendance, no large gatherings. So, of course, you take out the 70,000 people, you take out the large football stadium, and you take out all those people coming in from all over the world to come together for WrestleMania like they do every single year. But this year, no fans, no big stadium. WWE WrestleMania 36 was held in the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, guys. I gotta say, this is a very impromptu setup, within the last 3 weeks for WWE to do this. Again, we spoke about this in the last episode with my co-host Avery on that one episode, which was our official, unofficial WrestleMania 36 preview and predictions. We talked about most of the matches there, but I harping on whether Vince McMahon was a genius or an evil genius for continuing on to go on with WrestleMania. There was a lot of criticism whether this was right, whether Vince McMahon is just forcing his employees to work during this chaotic pandemic, whether it's real or not. And also whether it's a good idea to go on. I mean, all the other major sports, we got NBA, NFL, NHL, all those got canceled or postponed for the time being. And WWE is the only big professional, sports combat fighting, thing still going on. Even major TV shows, major movies, have been put on hold because of the studio. But WWE, here they are, again, being very, very, very brave on their part. But also, it's just, I guess it's what makes WWE. It's they're living up to when you tune in. It's those that they are they are then, they are now, and they are forever. And Vince McMahon isn't afraid of anything. I mean, he has literally won against the federal government in the past. He beat Ted Turner and he beat WCW, and he's beaten just about anybody, any competitor that goes against Vince McMahon, whether it's box office, whether it's ratings, whether it's sellouts. Vince is there. He's not going to let anything hold him back from being second place or not achieving an accomplishment. And I think WrestleMania 36, for it to still to go on, is an accomplishment in the times that we are faced with at the moment right now. So with all that being said, guys, let's get into my review match by match of the show, guys. And let's start off with the kickoff. On the very first night, we saw Drew Gulak go one-on-one with Cesaro. And I got to say, guys, this was a good competitive matchup, a great matchup that you want to see with two great competitors, two guys that I think could be utilized in the way that they were handled in this match. And these are two grapplers, two wrestlers. They're just going to tear it up. I mean, these guys will twist you around limb from limb, just like my tongue there. But I got to say, Cesaro here picks up the victory against Drew Gulak at WrestleMania. Again, is the kickoff show. Some people are going to think whether this is a big deal or not. It's the kickoff show. Guys, they're performing on the same mat and they're coming out of the same entrance that, the main event guys are going to be coming out of. So it's still the same show. It's still WrestleMania. It's just the opening match. And I got to say, it was a good performance from Cesaro on this one here. And let's go on to the very first opening match of the show. Before we get there, guys, let's get into the opening promo of WrestleMania 36. Quite interesting. We saw, of course, Stephanie McMahon coming and introduce to the audience watching at home. To many, was their first time. So I think it was a very good, proper entrance to WWE to a lot of the new audiences. You look, WWE WrestleMania 36 was promoted everywhere. I mean, if you were on YouTube, if you were on your phone, if you were just watching TV, you saw an ad for WrestleMania 36. So a lot of new eyes were going to be watching WrestleMania 36. So good kudos for Stephanie for doing the very good thing of her in management to introduce this new audience to WrestleMania and to the WWE really in general. So opening package was great. I really love that this was a little bit of a montage spoof on the fact that this is a over the top productions with a pirate and all that spiel. But I think it was good, lighthearted. It definitely was great. I don't know who the actor was. I was thinking it sounds a lot like Hugh Jackman, and he's done WWE stuff, and WWE doesn't hold back on going out and getting a top voice to do these promos. Vince will go all out and signs and get someone just to do a voiceover. And for WrestleMania, I would say that they got to go out and get a big time guy like Hugh Jackman, who again in the past has done stuff with the WWE. He's been involved in ring stuff in the past, so it could be him. I don't know. You guys let me know on Twitter. Speaking Wrestle. But I really think that this was a good promo, this intro package to the show. It really got into it. And then we went into Gronkowski. It's really hard to say this guy's name. Gronkowski. I mean, that literally fucks you up. That's why most people just go call him Gronk. But Gronk, who is recently signed to WWE, is the host of WrestleMania 36. What an honor. And what an honor for him. I don't know if he's aware of how much this really means, because this is going to go down in history. This is going to be, live on forever in infamy on film. So for him to be hosting WrestleMania 36 is a great honor, but also for the WWE. I mean, look at the great trade-off that we get. We sign a three-time Super Bowl champion for the New England Patriots in Gronkowski there. Great. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a mainstream star. This guy is polarizing, and he's all over the place. So a good get-up for WWE. He's also involved with Fox Sports and the Fox NFL. So, I mean, this is a good get. This is the part of the Fox trade with working with WWE. But again, to all those new eyes that are probably watching WrestleMania 36 for the first time, or WWE, are thinking, hey, I know that guy. So already off the bat, WrestleMania is off to a good start with the top stars and a big celebrity, an athlete like Gronk to host a show. And we go off to the very first matchup. The women's tag team match are on the line as the Kabuki Warriors defend against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. My goodness, this was a pretty long match. They had a long time to go out there, guys. They had 15 minutes and 5 seconds to go out there, but this was a good matchup. The Kabuki Warriors were very impressive. I just love the work always of seeing Kairi Sane. I think that she, is such a fighter, all the time. And for a woman her size, she, man, can bring it all the time. Asuka is another one. I think this is one of her best performances. It's WrestleMania again, so a big stage like this, she knows when to bring it. But I was very impressed by Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross took a lot of the beating during this matchup. Alexa Bliss worked a lot of the good parts in this match, but I really got to say Alexa was really good for the comebacks. But Nikki, I think this was a good matchup for her, carrying a lot of this match with the Kabuki Warriors. Kabuki Warriors lose the women's tag team champions to the new tag team champions, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, both winning the championships for the first time together. What an accomplishment for those two. I mean, Alexa Bliss, once again, picking up another title. But this has got to be a great moment for Nikki Cross. Here she is competing at WrestleMania and winning a championship. I mean, I can assure you that when she got the news, to her it's a big deal. And again, guys, I want to remind you, and I'm going to go through the show. I'm going to remind you guys that it's really means a lot more. I know when you take the crowd out and you take the environment of what WrestleMania was supposed to be and has been for the past years, like we know what it is, you kind of almost feel like this isn't WrestleMania. Like, does this really matter? It does matter. This matters to all these competitors that accomplished so much, this past weekend in their careers. It matters to them because forever, whether they were in front of 70,000 people or not, they are the champions now. They are in the record books, and the records are going to live forever in WrestleMania. And that really got me thinking. A great way to start off the night and the weekend to get you thinking that, hey, to some of these athletes, these competitors, it means something to them. And to see Nikki Cross's actual reaction to her finally winning an actual championship, since being part of this company, it meant a lot to her. And you can definitely see it in her reaction to it. And that's what really made me enjoy the fact that some people this weekend were going to complete something that they've been after for their entire lives. And we'll get into that, guys. So I'm going to harping on that throughout this podcast. And I'm also going to harping on the fact that, if I was judging every single match, which in a kind of way I am, but I'm not really a judge and I'm not putting up any numbers, Dave Meltzer, I'm going to dock some points for pandering to the audience. It's just one of my pet peeves in professional wrestling, pandering to the audience, especially when there is no audience. Again, this is in the performance centers. There's no large gatherings anywhere at the moment. So there's no one to pander to. Second is also, when they make their entrance and it's the same entrance as if there was 16,000, 70,000 people. It's the same entrance every week, very robotic. Again, I'm going to dock you points for that. And that's one thing that, looking out into the crowd when there is no crowd, you got to realize the environment is unlike any other that you performed in. So, let yourself be consumed by the environment. Let yourself be consumed that this is going to be just you, the competitor, and the referee with some camera guys around dressed in black, and the announcers, which you can hear them throughout your matches. So this is an environment. I would say this is like the best way that I can say that if you were to compete on, with this type of circumstance, WrestleMania 36, that I would compare it to the end of Rocky 3. And if anybody's seen all the Rocky movies, kudos to you. But Rocky 3 at the end, when him and Apollo, when this Rocky, him and Apollo are just, sparring just themselves at a gym, and it's empty and it's only them. And the only thing that's on, it's that, one light bulb hanging over the ring, and that's it. And it goes out like that. And you can just imagine that those two probably had the greatest boxing match that no one ever saw. But because they are so competitive and so driven by the passion of fighting, that they fought because their integrity is so high. And that's what I really thought, that you got to have this mindset to go out there in a circumstance like this for WrestleMania 36, where there is no audience. You got to imagine that it's you and your competitor doing it for the passion and for whatever story. There's a lot of deep stories that were, going into WrestleMania, that I can imagine that you don't need the audience. Or if you're that embedded into a storyline like, the Randy Orton storyline, you're so focused on the story and the character and what's led you to this point, that the audience is just there to, be a spectator. And that's what they are. They're not there to be part of the show, which is what I think a lot of the fans that complain that this was going to be a bad WrestleMania because there won't be no participation from the audience. And don't get me wrong, the biggest factor in professional wrestling is the audience. But again, guys, we are spectators, and I'm getting to the point that a lot of the fans that are complaining are the fans that tend to hijack shows, or tend to just like wrestling because of the chants, or go to wrestling shows just to be a part of the chant. And sometimes, hey, look, chanting is okay. Sometimes it's a little overboard, and I think I'm speaking to those type of wrestling fans, and I think you know who you are. But let's move on, guys. This is the second official match on the show. Elias defeated King Corbin, and what was a very quick matchup, guys. They only went 9 minutes on this one. This was a quick throwaway match. The build was there, but again, it was Elias and King Corbin. You didn't really sold me on this one, so I didn't really think much of this match here. Next match, Becky Lynch, Raw Women's Champion, defends against Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler making her WrestleMania debut. Again, another competitor making the WrestleMania debut here. Kudos to Shayna Baszler here. What a professional she is. And this is the biggest takeaway that I got from this match was the fact that Shayna carried herself like a heel, like a main event superstar, and like she's been there 1,000 times. I'm so impressed every time I see her. I love her. I really hope that the higher ups in management, Vince, took note that you have a superstar here. Don't fuck this up with a gimmick. Don't fuck this up with something, that is not her. This chick is a badass. She lost to Becky Lynch on a fluke loss. It wasn't Becky Lynch's best victory, but she picks up the win here. I don't think this is over. It's far from over here. I think Shayna will eventually capture that championship. I just don't think that Vince was up to having Becky Lynch, the man who's being promoted as, this empowered woman, for all this hype, and then to lose at WrestleMania to someone who is just been called up to the main roster. And what does that say? Is just, the superstar that, has conquered all the mountains on the women's division, and WrestleMania just gets beat by someone that got called up 3 months, despite the fact that it's Shayna Baszler. But again, take it for what it is. Vince sees it a whole different other way than we see it, and we got to go with that, guys. Next match, Intercontinental Championship match. Sami Zayn defends against Daniel Bryan, and what I thought was going to be the match of the weekend, because when you tell me that Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan are going to wrestle one-on-one, and then you just throw in there the fact that, sprinkle on the magic of the Intercontinental Championship, and in WrestleMania, I mean, literally, I just thought that this was going to be the wrestling match of the weekend. Literally, the wrestling match of the weekend. But it really wasn't. I do think that it was competitive. I do think that Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn tore it up in there and, told a good story. But they only went 9 minutes and 20 seconds. So, I'm going to go with not really what I was hoping for. But Sami Zayn picks up the win here. Again, I think it's far from over, just the way that he picked up the victory over Daniel Bryan there. So, look, Daniel Bryan becoming the Intercontinental Championship would be great, because if you remember, when he won it back at WrestleMania 31, oh my God, how long ago was that? He won it, relinquished it about a month later because of he got to go once again for injury. He got hurt, and then he retired after that. So he never lost the Intercontinental Championship. It would be great to see him win it, especially for his intentions for having that championship back in 2015 when he won it. He intended for, if you remember, John Cena became the United States champion at WrestleMania 31, defeating Rusev. And he went on to do the whole, John Cena Open Challenge every single week, which was amazing. I would love to go back and just watch week by week the John Cena Open, U.S. Open Challenge. Good stuff there. And Daniel, who was going to just won the championship, the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown, was going to elevate that championship at the same time as John was for Raw with the U.S. And, Daniel got hurt and he couldn't carry that championship, had to relinquish it. But, he intended, to bring back that championship to what it was. And I just think a guy like Daniel Bryan, who is, arguably one of the best in-ring performers of all time, is a guy that you want having that championship because of, him being such a top superstar. But again, the matches and quality of matches that Daniel Bryan can bring and, relate that to the Intercontinental Championship. So, again, I don't think it's far from over, but I love to see Daniel get a victory here. Next match, triple threat ladder match. Last minute change for this one. It was supposed to be triple threat tag team, but only one individual from each team will be representing each team, and that was John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston here. Triple threat SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This match was great. I love just an old fashioned triple threat. Teams. Look, I look. It would have been great to have all the teams, everybody compete the way it's supposed to be. It's a tag team, championship match. You need tag teams competing. But again, I just think when you add more bodies, it would have been just another Money in the Bank. It would have been another, ladder match. Just having a lot of people. It would have been a lot of just stunts. Here you had three guys that had to focus just on three guys, and I love that. I love just a one-on-one, but three. This was even better. A triple threat match. Love the performance of Jimmy Uso. He was, man. Talk about if this guy can go single. Both the guys, Jimmy and Jay, both guys are great, and they attempted that before of trying to see if they can go their separate ways. But man, give it up to him, Jimmy Uso, for his performance here, representing the Usos, and John Morrison. My God, man, it's incredible that this guy was gone from WWE for about 9 years, and he's back and he looks great. And man, this guy. Any minute now after this performance and just the way that he looks, he carries himself in the ring. He's such a performer. This guy could be in the main event scene. I would not be surprised if this guy's not wrestling against Seth Rollins or competing with Drew McIntyre or Daniel Bryan would be a great matchup there. Just very impressed by him. And also, guys, Kofi Kingston. I mean, Kofi Mania from a year ago to this year, Kofi is still a top player. He's still so over with the audience. New Day, again, are they going to ever break up at this point? You kind of feel like they're a little dragging on this too long. But New Day, they're still so entertaining. Kofi Kingston, a top performer. You're literally watching, three guys. One guy who's Kofi, who is reached the top of the mountain before as winning the WWE Championship. John Morrison is close by. He should be near those title belts, Universal and WWE. And again, Jimmy. I mean, this just helps elevate a guy like him, up. And the way that he was able to hang with the rest of those guys. Good ladder match. Impressed by the victory here by John Morrison pulling down both titles as Kofi and Jimmy went for what the titles were both hanging on. So, I love it. I love this ladder match is a good reminder that you don't need to cluster those ladder matches with so many people. But next month, we're going back to that because it's Money in the Bank for the next pay-per-view, guys. But let's move on to the next match. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins in a one-on-one matchup, guys. And look, I'm gonna be honest, guys. And if you've been listening to this show for the past year, I've been a little bit tough on Kevin Owens when it comes to his performances and his character and really where are they going with him. And like I do every week on the show, I do my performer and flopper of the week, and he's made the flopper list more times than anyone in the past year. So again, I'm not really that sold on Kevin Owens at the moment. Seth, again, him not too, because of this whole him leading the Messiah or this his faction. But now you have Akam and Razar out once again, AOP, and then Buddy Murphy, who's we haven't seen him in a while. So again, it just seems kind of like that whole thing is falling apart. So going into this match, it's just kind of like, let's just get this over with because they've been at each other's necks since like December at this point. So let's just end this Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins feud. I gotta say, major kudos to both guys because they handled this match like I spoke about. Two guys coming in there with the mindset that they have this vendetta, this aggravating, just full intention of hurting their opponent. And Kevin Owens just wanting to decimate Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins just wanting to demolish Kevin Owens, prove to him that Seth Rollins is the Messiah of professional wrestling. And at WrestleMania, why would Kevin Owens test them there? That's when Seth has been so successful. I mean, and he has. He really has. I mean, with the Shield, he has. He's been great at WrestleMania 31 when he won the WWE Championship. He's Seth has been on a great run at WrestleMania. So this was a good matchup. And again, what really made this match really great was the fact that they were not playing to an audience. They were lasered in on each other, and that's what made this match so great, guys. Kevin Owens picks up the victory here after this match goes to no DQ, jumping off the WrestleMania sign. A great stunt by Kevin Owens. So kudos to him once again, reminding all of us that this is a Kevin Owens that we've been wanting to see. So if they can just go from here, I think we got a good Kevin Owens going forward. Universal Championship match, Braun Strowman challenging Bill Goldberg. And again, Braun Strowman, a last minute, again, shoe-in for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, who had to be taken out of this match and quite frankly, out of WrestleMania because of, again, his medical conditions. He was battling leukemia in the past. Having him in a performance center where he might, be success or whatever the term was to pick up, COVID-19. A smart call. Again, I think the WWE just doing this because, you really want to take care of your guys, especially Roman. And again, you don't want to hear it from everybody else. So Braun was a good shoe-in, and I just think this is a good time. I mean, what else were they going to do with Braun Strowman? I mean, what else were they going to do with him? Him going in here and having a one-on-one matchup with Bill Goldberg, squashing Goldberg in about 4 minutes, less than 4 really. Good stuff here, and it's about damn time. It seriously is. So I love this decision. I can only assure you that Goldberg thought that this was a great decision, that he had no problem going out there and doing the business for Braun and getting him over and, acclimating him into, winning his first major championship. I mean, think about that, guys. Braun Strowman is now the Universal Champion. He is the top guy over on the Blue Brand on SmackDown. Kudos to him, man. Again, WrestleMania, he accomplished the biggest goal, in this business. So again, my hat's off to him, and it was good to see that reaction again is very genuine, very honest, very real. I loved it. All right, guys, and the last match of night one. Let's get into this. Undertaker, AJ Styles, Boneyard match. Never been done. Never seen anything like this, guys. And I got to say, this was the best thing that I have ever seen from WWE. This has got to be the best Undertaker. This wasn't a match, but this is one of the best Undertaker performances of his entire career. This is one that you got to put there on Undertaker's greatest hits. And AJ Styles, man, for him to show up, when I'm watching this match, I'm just always thinking, man, this was the top guy of TNA, and here he is going one-on-one The Undertaker and killing it with The Undertaker. So good stuff, man. I love this. This is definitely one that you got to go watch. I got to give this match 5 stars. This is one of the best things I've ever seen. Well produced. The story was there. Getting Gallows and Anderson, the Druids, bringing in so much history of The Undertaker, AJ Styles, and they're just man, just elevates AJ. And we talked about this before, when we're talking about the predictions in the last episode of AJ Styles. After this match, I can only hope that AJ is just elevated to a top spot, because he is working like a professional amongst everybody else. There's nobody that I think right now comes close to how professional AJ Styles is as a performer. Daniel Bryan second right now, listen, that's hard for me to say that I'm putting Daniel Bryan over AJ Styles, but AJ right now is killing it. He is at the peak of his career, and it's sad to think that he's only got 2 more years or about a year left on his contract, and he's out of here. I mean, I can assure you that he's going to re-sign for another one there, but this has got to be one of the best matches I've ever seen. Undertaker burying AJ Styles. I mean, whether that's symbolic or whatever, but this is the best thing I've ever seen. Undertaker coming in back with the motorcycle, coming in with Metallica. Man, it gave me chills watching this. It really made me feel like this was amazing. I'm gonna say that it took a couple of takes to do this, but the whole fighting stuff and all that stuff. I mean, I gotta say they probably did it all in one take. Undertaker and AJ Styles, you rack up the years of of how long they've been in the business, and them playing out characters and storylines. They're top professionals, man. And that's why this felt so good, man, so good. But let's get into it, guys. Night number 2, we had a pre-match into this one. Liv Morgan defeated Natalia. This was just another throwaway. Could have been on Monday Night Raw any week. But a good victory for Liv Morgan at WrestleMania over a good competitor in Natalia. Charlotte Flair defeated Rhea Ripley, and what was a good matchup, the opening matchup to WrestleMania. Again, a lot of criticism, Charlotte Flair, that she's being pushed to the moon, that she is the John Cena, Roman Reigns of the women's division. Guys, if it hasn't set in for you now that she is going to be the greatest female superstar of all time, and that's what they're trying to get her to, then you're just going to have to live with that. And I love this decision. Look, Rhea Ripley is great, but I love the fact that Charlotte is now going to go over to NXT, elevate that brand a little bit, and also all the competitors that are down there. I would love to see all these, rookies, so to say, have a matchup with a top seasoned superstar like Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley, look, she's going to get that title again. I just don't think that, the momentum was there for her. I think she's still too new. There's a little spots of her being green, but other than that, she's a top pro as well. So I love the match. I think it could have been better. I don't think it's the best match that both of them could have had, but Charlotte was just the better performer on here, and no doubt that she deserved to win this championship. So kudos for her. Aleister Black, Bobby Lashley. Again, this match, to be quite honest with you guys, I did not watch this match at all, but it sounded like Aleister Black won. No surprise there. He deserves a victory here. And coming at WrestleMania, again, it's another throwaway. It could have been on Raw, but it happened at Mania, so it matters. Otis, Dolph Ziggler, with Sonya Deville in Ziggler's corner. This was another one of those matchups that going into WrestleMania you were looking forward to, with the story that had just been building in for months with Otis and Mandy, and then getting Sonya and Dolph involved, and just it's so well done. And again, guys, yes, it puts a little bit of the kibosh on the storyline without the people and out the reaction, because we all know that the reaction to this feel good story with a good feel good happy ending was gonna be so much spectacle with the audience cheering and jumping up and down. But again, this was a great matchup, and I gotta say, Otis, great performer, man. Great stuff from here. I knew it that this guy was gonna be a breakout star. Ziggler, again, man, dude, it's just performer. This guy's just again, he's a veteran, man. He's on a whole another level than anybody else on the roster. They had a tremendous matchup. Sonya, I like the pairing of Sonya in Ziggler's corner going forward. I really like that a lot. Will we ever know who that anonymous or QAnon person was that did that video and let the truth be heard, or is that person only going to be involved? Because it's kind of weird that for weeks and weeks leading up to what was these glitches on SmackDown, that it was just to get involved in this triangle when that whole kind of like love triangle story already had other people getting involved, Tucker and Sonya getting involved. And so you didn't need this, GTV QAnon individual or the anonymous Raw general manager to get back into the fold. But other than that, this was good stuff. And the ending with, of course, Mandy helping Otis win, just like we all thought. But again, whether you thought or knew that this was what this whole story was going to lead to, Mandy eventually getting that big kiss on Otis. Yeah. But that's what we live for, man. It's wrestling. That's wrestling. You got to have that love story in wrestling. Wrestling gives you every single genre when you used to walk down a video store. Now you just go on your Netflix, but you go through all the genres. You go through drama, romance, comedy, action, thriller, suspense, horror, you go through all those genres. I can guarantee you that you got a little bit of all those genres at WrestleMania 36. So this was just part of the romance and a little bit of the comedy. This was a rom-com. with a good ending. So I love this matchup here. So Otis and Mandy, good stuff there, guys. Next match, Edge, Randy Orton, and Last Man Standing. I love this match. I going into this, I really got to say that this is two veterans going in here one on one. How can you not love this match? I mean, it's Edge and it's Randy Orton. Edge's return again, yes, not in a big stadium, but it's Edge and Randy Orton. So good stuff there all around. Was it a little bit too long? It's the longest match of the entire weekend, 36-35. But again, good story. There was some stuff in here that I did not like. Randy choking Edge in the weights. I did not like that because I really just thinking, aren't they not supposed to do that? I don't know. Vince was, yelling into the mic somewhere in the back, having aneurysm about that. But man, good stuff. And I gotta say, this felt like a video game. This felt a lot like all the video games that us wrestling fans are used to playing. This felt like the backstage area. They're on trucks, they're on semis, they're in the backstage. This felt like whoever produced this match, the agent, played video games. This is like, hey, we need to make this just like in 2K. And they did. This really felt like playing old SmackDown versus Raw. It really did. It felt, even from like when the Edge won and then they ring the bell and his music plays and the announcer, it's just like in the video game, and you could be backstage and the music plays and they still announce you as the winner. So this literally felt like a video game. And I did see some critique. One, Dave Meltzer, who said that this was the most boring match. Come on, dude. I mean, when you speak like that, your opinion slowly or rapidly starts to diminish and matter in the wrestling business. This was a good matchup, man. They told such an emotional story. I love the close-ups of Edge and Randy, of their faces. That really souls you so much on the story that they're telling. What they've been through, what they're doing to each other, how much it meant. Is the Edge, looking down at Randy, about to hit him with the concerto, and just a little bit of regret. Is it the right decision? But it must be done. I mean, just great, compelling story in here. I loved it. This has got to be one of the best matchups. And again, like I've said, there's been a lot of criticism from people that say, this was maybe not the best match, or this is a little bit boring. I hate boring, dude. What do you want? I feel like I said, this felt like a video game. A lot of the fans that complain about WWE not being so good, tend to be kind of video game fans. And a lot of those fans went over to AEW. And a lot of those fans, because they do everything video game cliche over in AEW, you kind of feel like a lot of the fans should have liked this and felt like, wow, this feels like WWE backstage, or like, a hardcore match in the backstage area, are complaining about this matchup because it wasn't high flying, it wasn't blood, it wasn't maneuver after maneuver. It was just two guys beating the shit out of each other. And that's what you expected out of the story that they were telling since the Royal Rumble. I mean, Randy RKOing his wife and then getting so deep into personal stories that these two guys have confided and shared with one another, bringing it out to light to tell this amazing story. Good stuff all around. So I got to say, this is one of the best matchups. Congrats to Edge coming back on having a great match, defeating Randy Orton. Good stuff there. Street Profits defeated Angel Garza and Austin Theory, making his debut at WrestleMania. And Street Profits once again retain their Raw Tag Team Championships. And what was another quick Raw, throwaway matchup, 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Again, not very impressive here. Not much to talk about. Bayley survives a fatal 5-way elimination match, defending her SmackDown Women's Championship. This matchup was great. I really love this. It really came down to Lacey and Sasha Banks and then Bayley. And they told a story that we're kind of preluding to another Sasha and Bayley, but this time on the main roster and for those women's championships. So get ready for some great women's competition from those two. So I loved it there. And Bayley, retains this. It's good stuff from there. It was a 19-20 minute matchup, so probably the second longest matchup of the entire weekend, even going longer than Undertaker and AJ Styles, if you can think about that, really. All right, guys, Next matchup, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, John Cena, Firefly Funhouse matchup. Holy shit. This this was something else. Literally, this was something else, guys. Man, this was just a masterpiece. This was perfection. This was just so good. Every single thing about this segment or this matchup was just so good. Not one wasted segment or anything about this. This entire thing was so good. This was just the best thing that WWE's ever done, and I had envisioned what is it going to be like. What is this Firefly Funhouse? What is the John Cena Bray Wyatt match going to be? It's not going to be Bray Wyatt and John at the Performance Center having a quiet matchup. It's not going to be that. I knew that it was going to be a little bit of editing. I knew that it was going to be a little bit of John being in Bray's world. And whether they did that at the Performance Center and they darken it up, no red lights, just darken it up, where all you see is just John in the ring, just kind of like what they really did throughout this thing was great. I love all the parodies they did. I really love that. It was very satire. There was a lot of references to John's personal life and career, a lot of references to Bray Wyatt and his personal life and career from John. I just love this, man, from, the different, kind of, I don't know what you call them, like portals or mindsets that you were taken to. It was such a trip. This was something else, man. This is you can't even say. I don't know, but all I can say is that I want to watch this again. I'm going to watch this again. This is the best. I swear, this is the best thing that I've ever seen, ever done by WWE. Yes, I'm highly speaking on the Boneyard match on night one, because even that night one just left me thinking, what did I just see? I just saw something different from WWE, and it was fucking amazing. Night two with the Firefly Funhouse match just blew that out of the water, and it just blows almost everything of what you think wrestling has been and could have been and could be going forward. I really think that the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse are the two matches going forward have revolutionized the business. And it's not the first time that this is done. TNA has done it. Lucha Underground has done it. Even AEW has done some of it with a lot of the, overly well-produced, done video packages and, sequences. But this was just, I just don't think anybody could top this. And if anybody tries, then it'll just be that. It'll just be trying. But this is so good. I give it all 5 stars. The best ratings. You can give it 10 out of 10, 100%. The Firefly Funhouse match was the best thing on WrestleMania 36, guys. But it was not the final thing on WrestleMania 36, guys, because it was Drew McIntyre challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, guys. And this was a great matchup here. Again, 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Not long matches, as you can always expect with Brock Lesnar. But this was a good matchup. And again, it was done in the Performance Center. Story was there. Drew McIntyre, of course, winning the 2020 Royal Rumble and having his opportunity here against Brock Lesnar. Good stuff here, man. I love this. Yeah, I gotta say that this, to me, was a good championship matchup and a good way of Brock Lesnar handing it over, not handing it over, but quite essentially having a good match and passing on the torch to Drew McIntyre as the new beast on Monday Night Raw and in WWE. Brock, very professional. This is why Brock is such guarded as a great competitor in the locker room and a professional, and why Vince does great business, and no one should complain about Brock Lesnar. The guy shows up and does business. 70,000 people or not, big stage, big stadium or not, Brock Lesnar went out there and still competed the way that he would have if there were 70,000 people. I love that. And again, Drew McIntyre, big kudos to him becoming WWE champion. I mean, that's got to be the biggest accomplishment to him, Drew Galloway, not Drew McIntyre, the WWE superstar. Drew Galloway, the man. And that's it. WrestleMania 36, guys. It's in the books. Man, great show. Great show. Every year, if at the end of every WrestleMania, you're not telling yourself, oh, man, this was the best WrestleMania, so much better than last year, then it didn't outdo it. I got to say, guys, this WrestleMania outdid last year's WrestleMania by a long shot. I did not enjoy last year so much, but it was good. Maybe better than the one year before that because I don't like New Orleans. But no offense, New Orleans. But again, this was such a good WrestleMania, guys. Let's get into it. My performer and flopper of the weekend, guys. Again, my performer of the weekend, the entire weekend, guys. You know, I'm going to say the Firefly FunHouse is the must watch. That's what to watch this week. You got to go watch the Firefly FunHouse. But my performer of the week, who I just think had a great matchup inside the squared circle, told a great story. It's a tough decision, but I'm going to go with Charlotte. Again, I'm going to go with Charlotte. I just think Charlotte is just the top professional in her division, in the women's division. I said a lot of good things about AJ and Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens, but I got to go with Charlotte being just a great performer at WrestleMania, winning the NXT championship and what she's going to do for that championship. Good stuff there. Loved it. Flopper of WrestleMania, guys. The flopper of WrestleMania. I'm going to go with, and this was a tough decision because, again, I just literally praised the fucking shit out of this show for being so good and living up to the hype and everybody just working their ass off on every single match. I don't really think that I gave someone a hard time. So, you know, it's a little bit unfair for me to say that there was a flopper, but there has to be. And the flopper was Gronkowski. Again, I fucked up his name, so maybe I'm the flopper on this one. But again, I don't think I was that much impressed. It was a little bit kind of cheesy and a little bit what I expected. It's the same thing they did on the Rockin' New Year's Eve on New Year's Eve on Fox. They did the same thing with Mojo, R-Truth, and Gronk. So here they did it again. So that's my flopper of the week because I've seen it before, and you know, I don't think it was necessary throughout the show. It was just a little bit too spoofy, a little bit too comedy for WrestleMania. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on what was a long review of WrestleMania 36, guys. But I can't do it without your guys' support. And anything you guys do, like, comment, you guys tell a friend, repost this. Anything will help, guys. And I greatly appreciate all your guys' support throughout this past year. We're closing up on our first year at Speaking Wrestling, guys. This was our first WrestleMania. I guess that's why I'm kind of on that, like, this was the first year, because WrestleMania tends to be that, you know, for us wrestling fans, you know, the closing of a year and the beginning of a new year. And we will get to that on a bonus episode, guys. I will be putting out an episode next one, so be on the lookout for episode 56, where I will give you guys what I think are the stars that are going to break through the next year as we lead into WrestleMania 37 in Los Angeles next year, guys. Thank you so much for joining me in episode 55. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Speaking Wrestle, Instagram at Speaking Wrestling. Don't forget to subscribe and like this podcast over on YouTube, guys. Please, that helps a lot. Rate, review, leave a comment wherever you listen to this podcast, guys. And thank you so much to all the listeners out there. We hope you guys have a great wrestling week. Good night, Australia, and we'll do it again next time. Bye-bye.